Alrighty, folks, welcome to our channel. Welcome to our podcast. As you guys can see, I have called it The Art of Marshalling. Now, for the sake of the podcast, guys, and for this video, I'm going to be using these lights. Okay. Now, these lights are not what we use when we marshal an aircraft. Okay. So, Um, let's go over a few things before we even get to that demonstration part. And you guys are going to want to stick around because I've got some pretty cool stories to tell you. All right. Okay. Why do we marshal? Well, we marshal because the aircraft sits in a seat surrounded by basically aluminum and all this metal composite and a glass window. And unfortunately, the pilot or captain or first officer sits in the front and they can see in the front. They can't see on the side, they can't see behind, they can't see on the wing. They just can't see all that direction. So, that is why you need personnel or a system or a guiding system that allows them to park. Okay. Also, folks, I don't know if you know this, but on the underside of an aircraft body, there is no camera. They cannot see the guideline, lead in line, okay, to be able to park. Now, I'm going to go back to a former page from a demonstration and a podcast that we talked about. Okay. Do you all remember the art of the pushback? Okay. Do you all remember these lines here? These were the lead in lines. Okay. So, if the plane was coming in, they're aiming or guiding or visualizing, okay, if you will, right here. This is what they're visualizing right here. Okay. Their nose gear has to align right on that line because the wheels, the aft wheels are going to follow just like as we would push. Okay. So here's the nose gear, right? There's the back wheels. When I push the nose gear, the back wheels are going to move independently of the nose gear. So if I guide the nose gear, the rear wheels are going to follow, okay? But there's a few um tricks and tidbits that you may want to know a little bit down the road. So stay tuned, folks. I will be talking, okay, about all that. Okay. So, having had said that, that's what they're, aiming for. They're aiming for the lead in line, okay? Um, I'm gotta reference my notes here, folks. Sorry about that. Okay. So, yeah, what is marshaling? Marshaling is the art of guiding the nose gear of an aircraft into a gate safely, effectively, in a professional and controlled manner. Now, that is not the Oxford Dictionary definition, but if you look at it, I pretty much summed it up in one paragraph for you. Okay. So, remember, we're going to be using these as the wands, okay? I don't have lit wands with me. I don't carry a set with me at home. I do have day wands and they're not lit. But as long as the flight deck can see and as long as I can see the flight deck and they're aware of me using them, we can use them for day operations. They're not allowed to be used in night operations because the flight deck cannot see them. They won't even approach the gate. Okay. It's for safety and for liable reasons, okay? Okay, got that out of the way. Um, the other reason so that, we ensure that there is no damage or that nothing gets hit, okay? Um, there is a area within the gate area, which we call the OSZ. It's the, operational safety zone, okay? Now that safety zone is a diagrammed area, okay? And if you guys will so kindly indulge me here for just a second, we're going to do this while you guys are on the podcast with me as well. Okay. So we have a gate here, we have a gate here, and we have a gate here. Okay. So you guys can see the line here. I did on all the way on this side of the page, in the center of the page, and on the other side of the page, right? Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to show you what an OSC looks like. Okay? So, the lead-in line is basically like right here, right? Okay, do you guys see that? Right? The OSZ is this imaginary line, okay? Well, it's an actual physical line, okay? Do you guys see that right here? You guys see that, right? Okay. This line here is an area where the wing, all right? If I show you, you're gonna have to turn this so you guys can see this. So I'm sorry about this. Okay. So there's that. So there is the nose gear right up there. So there's the body, the fuselage, the wing, back, and then the tail. Okay. Again, this is a kind of a poor drawing here. Okay. All right. So do you see that the wing is within this safety area? Now, let's imagine that they're parking a gigantic 777 on this space, okay? Huge 777, right? 777, okay? Now, imagine that there is a small regional that's right next to here, okay? Or even better yet, let's imagine and pretend that there is a 787-10, which is longer, I think, by, a little couple of inches, and they're trying to come into the gate right here, right? Now, imagine they can't see this, okay? I mean, they can see it, but once they pull into this line, the flight deck cannot see the wingspan of their wings because they physically cannot open the window, look out, and see that. Because if they're focusing on the wing, they can't focus on the line, which, if you guys have known this, that line is the same width as the lines that are painted on a parking lot. It's a very small width line. Okay. So as you do that, they can't see that. So that's why marshaling is very, very critical. Okay. So that draws me to my next point. Okay. Is that we do this in a professional manner. Okay. If they just were to park themselves, chaos would ensue because we would never realize that there's an aircraft that's parked at this gate if I'm all the way a couple gates down. I would never realize that there's a plane pushing out or coming in, a two regional side by side. It would be chaotic, right? That is why we have marshalers do this, okay? Now, what does a marshaling team consist of? Now, if you guys paid attention in some of my videos, and if you paid attention into some of my podcasts, I mentioned this once or twice, but I always, always show you this when I pull into a gate area to marshal an aircraft. And if you watch closely, you can see them out there. Okay. It's a minimum staffing of 3 people. Okay. One wing walker here, one wing walker here at the ends, at the wing, hence the name wing walker, right? and then there's one in the front. So I got one in the front, one on this side, one on this side, and we're walking the plane into the gate to be parked. Okay. Okay. So now that we have that out the way, we've discussed what it is, we've discussed why we do it, and we've discussed what minimum staffing entails. Okay. Now, you can always have more than minimum staffing, and it helps tremendously. But in order to do this properly, professionally, and responsibly, you need a minimum of 3 people. Okay. Now that we got that done, let's talk about some things that you need to marshal an aircraft. I've already discussed this, but we're going to discuss this anyways. Are you guys with me so far? Okay. Now, this is not what they look like. This is a representation of what they are. Okay. Now, we have what we call wands, which is parking wands. All right. Or glow sticks is something you guys call them. The proper term for them is wands. Okay. Marshalling wands. Okay. So, 3 things here. Number one, they have to be of a decent length. Number two, they have to be visible. Number 3, for nighttime operations, they must be lit and in working condition. Okay. They must be in working condition under low visibility, inclement weather, and nighttime operations. Okay. Because they need to be able to see it. All right. Imagine there being a whiteout and they can't see me and they pull the plane in the gate and we have damage. It is a bad situation. So, in order to prevent all this, we have lit wands. Now, you are allowed to use lit wands during daytime operations. That's fine. But for nighttime ops, like we said and discussed this for minimum staffing, you must have lit wands at night. Okay. Now, I'm telling you guys this from a professional standpoint as employees for the airport and airport operations. Let me tell you something. If a friend says, "Can you help guide me?" You can use these when you help guide your friend. If you have flashlights, you can use flashlights. It works the same way. It's just a way for them to see you and the movements. That's what you're doing is you're giving them motions and movements in a repeated um scenario or a repeated pattern, okay, or not repeated pattern, okay, so that it is effectively understood within seconds to deviate if need be. Now, I say that because if you're giving a signal, you need to immediately throw one so that they can stop or proceed if they need to hurry that particular motion. Okay? Are we on the same page here? Right? Okay. Um, let me pause my podcast information just for a sec, guys. I'm going to be demonstrating and discussing what this is, a marshaling and how it works. Stay tuned because I'm going to teach you guys, I'm going to tell you guys a couple of stories. That's going to happen at the end, but it's important and imperative to understand what is going on with marshaling so that you can understand why the stories are pretty significant and pretty impressive. Okay? So, here we go. Now, I am going to go ahead and share with you the art of some basic motions. We're going to share with you some basic motions and how you can park an aircraft, a car, a boat, what have you. Okay. Now, um, some of you guys that work in the medical field, I think some of you followers work in the medical field, right? And I think a few of you guys have um, gone up to your best friend, a colleague, a teacher, a professor, what have you. You've gone up to them and you've explained something to them. Now, have you ever said, "Oh, it's on your left ear"? Okay. Now, my left ear is this side. But if you look at me and say my left ear, you're really looking at my right ear, okay? Because you're looking at me the other way in a mirrored image, right? It's kind of flipped. You kind of like when you take a video and you say, wait a minute, it's different. It looks different. It's because it's flipped. It's a different point of view. It's like your front facing video camera, right? When you catch a video, it's flipped because it's the way it's recorded. When it's the other way, the back camera, it's what you're seeing. Your eyes are physically seeing. Okay. It's the same for marshaling. So you got to remember and realize that the direction you're giving them, you got to give it to their point of view. Perfect example. Okay. And I'm going to show it to you in a couple of movements. So let's get to the basics first. Okay. For us, we have a bunch of these, but the standard procedure is to identify where they're going to be parking. Okay. So what we do is we literally hold our wands up like this and say, this is your gate. This is your gate. This is your gate. Okay. If you look at some of my videos, I actually will take my arms and do it up high and show it like this. Now, excuse me, I'm going to step back so you can see it on video, okay? But bear with me here. Okay. Now, you may have to jack the volume up a little bit, and I'm going to do that for you a little bit so you can hear me from a distance, okay? Okay. So, we have the wands, right? I'm going to be taking the wands here, and literally, I'm going to put them up here and tell you this is the gate. Okay. This is the gate. Okay. This is the gate. Are you guys with me still? So we've gone to identify the proper gate to park. Okay. You can also do this if you wanted to do with a car. So let's, for example, state you have a space here and you have a space here and you want them to park in the middle space. So what you would tell them is park here. Park here. Okay. Now, you need to tell them to come forward, right? All you're going to do is take your wand, okay? Your wand like this, and you're literally going to bring them together. Bring them together. Bring them together. Bring them together. Okay? Now, this is what it looks like in real time, okay? See if I can do this. All right. You see that? You're going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Almost like you're doing an exercise. You guys with me? Okay? This is how you would tell them to come forward. Okay? Now, so you've got identify, you've got come forward, but let's say that they need to turn left. Okay? So the funny part is they see my left shoulder on the right side, and they see my right shoulder on the left side. Okay? So in order for them approaching me to turn left, I'm going to take my wands, point it left way, take this, and I am then going to direct the other side to that direction. Okay? Now, I'm going to hold it out like this because it actually looks a lot like this. Okay? So, you see that? It's like you're waving somebody down. Okay? And then, when they get to that mark, you then bring both arms together. Okay? Now, so I have a small tip for you. And you can use this if your airline, your company, your carrier, your friend, or whoever you're guiding is aware of this and understands this. But this is not a standard signal. This is just a way to help improve your motions. Now, when they get to that solid line, okay, one motion that you can use is to take your wands and tap them together and go up and down in a rapid succession. Okay? You guys understand that? You're going to do it in a rapid succession up and down. And then, so you're going to come here, right? You're going to, right like this. Okay? Pull them apart and continue to do the waving motion. Okay? All right. Now, the aircraft is approaching you and it's getting close. It's about, let's say, 13 feet away. Okay. It's more like 30 feet away, which we would start for a professional stop. But some people, it's very, how do I put this, folks? It's a, at will discretion. It's a discretionary action. There you go. It's a discretionary action and motion. It's at your discretion how close and how soon you want to start this. But to do this correctly and professionally, I would do this with enough distance so that you can get the motion to be very smooth and consistent. You guys ever been in an aircraft before and you could barely even tell that they stopped the aircraft and they're at the gate like, "Wait a minute, did we park?" Okay? It's because the motion was so smooth, you didn't even know it was there. Okay? So, let me show you how this is done. Okay? So, what you're going to do, and typically, this is the standard operating procedure. Okay? You're going to hold it out. Okay? When you do this, okay? You're going to hold it out and slowly cross them together. Okay. Now, I would like to explain something here. When we do that cross, okay? When you see the wand, the distance between each wand visually is the distance for each tire close to this mark. Okay? Are you understanding this? Are you guys with me here? Okay. So let me kind of help you guys out here. So we have our picture here, right? So we have the 777 coming into park. Okay. And I realize this is backwards. Oops. Because this is supposed to be the other way around. The part that's here is supposed to be the nose. This back part is supposed to be the tail. So this was supposed to be flipped around. Okay. So this was a bad idea. Okay. So I'm sorry. I'm doing this upside down. And I think my brain is turned around tonight. Okay. So now, with that said, so here is the lead line, right? You're coming in, coming in, coming in. Let's go back to our other drawing. Okay. And I will show you in a I'll clip a video that I'll show you guys later on. Okay. So here's the gates, right? Typically, there are hash marks on these gates. Now you might be wondering, why are there little hash marks? Do you see these hash marks right here? If you come in about halfway into the lead line, it's a hash mark that kind of looks like a tick on a football field right on the end of the sideline. Okay. And it's pretty much in equidistances or sometimes not equidistances for the length of the aircraft that is going to be parking. Okay. For example, this might be for your A319. This might be for your A321 because the 321 is longer than the 319, so it's still within the parameters of that gate I showed you on the other side. Okay. This might be the 767. This might be the 777. So, as you come in, okay, you're going to see, oh, I need the 777 to stop right on this mark right here. It's the furthest mark up towards the wall. Okay. So Somewhere along this lead line, there's going to be a physical point, a reference point at which I need to begin my slowdown process. So I'm going to be marshaling them all the way in from here, 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 here. And then I get to this mark, and then that's when I begin, okay, my motion to take my arms out and start going slow. Now, all right, you're going to see a lot of people do this, and it drives um well, it can be um a problem if the person that you're giving the instruction to isn't aware of it, okay? And you will typically find and watch like the plane kind of stop, right? And it's an abrupt stop, okay? And the marshaller is giving the captain the basically the command, stop the aircraft like now, okay? That's what it means when they do the X together like this. All right. So you see that? So one on top of the other. Here, let me do on the top. Okay. If I do it like this, you make sense now? So if I'm going to cross them, I'm going to cross them like this. Means stop. Okay. It's like an X if you were to see a stop sign, it'd be stop. Okay. So in that essence, you need to guide them slowly into that. So when I go from marshaling, okay, like this, I'm then going to say, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Now, do you see the distance between both of my wands, my flashlight wands, but my props? Do you see the distance? That means visually, that's how much distance you have between your tire and the mark. Now, do you see the distance, how it's like a foot? Okay. It is literally that far apart, okay? So you would start to do this. You would do this. Go slow, 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 and then cross. There are a few folks, okay, out in the field, all right? They're going to do this. They're going to start marshaling in like this, and then they're going to start doing like this and cross, all right? Now, that's when you feel that motion, okay? And they're doing exactly what they're asked to do. They're stopping the aircraft, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if I was sitting in the cabin of the aircraft, it'd be kind of a jerking motion, right? Kind of like, oh, that was kind of awkward. Okay. If you want to be professional, all right, you want to do it as smooth as possible. Okay. You shouldn't see the aircraft move after it parks. All right. Now you'll see a little bit of motion in the aircraft body if you do it that way. And that can happen because of the abrupt stop that you're giving the flight deck. All right. So I've showed you guys some basic motions. All right. I need to address a couple of items here as well. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Now, one of the items that we're going to address is the size. Okay. Now, a 777 does not park the same way as a 737. A 737 does not park the same way as a CRJ. Now, if you're familiar with these aircraft types, you know that I did the smallest, medium, and largest. I mean, there are larger types than a 777, but for the basis of my explanation here, right, we're just going to go with it. Okay. You wouldn't park a 777 the same way as you would park a CRJ, and you wouldn't park a CRJ the same way you would park a 777 because it's going to be kind of crazy. Why? Okay. Now, it all has to do with the wheelbase. Okay. It's the length of the distance between the front nose gear and the rear landing gear, main landing gear, MLG and NLG. Okay. With small regional jets, the distance between their nose gear and their main landing gear is a couple of feet. Okay. And I don't mean like 3 or 4. I mean, it's probably 15 to 17 feet. Okay. Now, take a 777 and it's double, if not triple that amount. Okay. 777, triple that amount. Kind of pun intended, right? Not really. That was kind of a joke, but you get where I'm going with this. Okay. The distance that the wheel is from a 777 is bigger than a CRJ. So if I brought in a CRJ and I told them go left, go right, what would happen is they would literally go like this all over that line. Okay. Now, if I gave that instruction to a 777, it's wide and has a long nose to tail, and the wheelbase between the landing gear and main landing gear is wide as well. So it's going to come wide, okay, like a tractor trailer. Think of a tractor trailer parking a 777, and then take a small smart car and try to park a smart car in this like parking lot, right? It'd be kind of awkward, kind of funny, right? Now, try and park that tractor trailer like a smart car. You can't do it. Try and park a smart car like you would a tractor trailer. You could, but why? Because it's maneuverable, it's nimble, right? It's the same thing. So, that's one thing we have to keep in consideration when we marshal this aircraft. And I tell you that for a reason, okay? There are times when gates, their lead line is not perfectly straight. All right. Now, go online, go into Google Maps, and go look at your closest airport. Zoom in to the terminals. Okay. You can zoom in to the gates and you can see where the paint lines go. Some of them go straight, some of them are crooked, some of them are crooked and then straight, okay? Which is kind of really crazy because you can come in and then have to turn them on a dime to 30 or 25 degrees and then park. And I'll show you. There's actually a gate in my specific station where they have to come in and then I have to turn them slightly to the left, okay, or to the right from my point of view. And they have to park on this mark within like 6 to 7 inches from then. So if you're not on your game, it's not going to work. And this is where this whole understanding takes place, okay? And I really need you guys to focus with me here because this is going to help you marshal anything, okay? When it is small, you want to give small changes, okay? Tell them left, keep coming, right, keep coming, left, keep coming. What you don't want to do is you don't want to go left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right. It'd be a disaster. You'd have a plane like this with the line like that. It's not going to work, and it would be all kinds of twisted, and it would be a position to have catastrophic damage, a lot of issues. It could affect personnel. It's a bad situation. So you need to give decent signals and then change. Okay. So when you give a signal, you pause and then give another one. You do not give a signal and then give another one and then give another one and then give another one and then keep coming and stop. Okay. That just looks like there was no planning, there was no effort, it wasn't coordinated, it wasn't professional whatsoever. Okay. So, and this even goes for parking like big machines and stuff like that. You would give a direction, you would tell them, stop, go to the other side, stop, Go this way. Stop. Go forward. Stop. This way. Okay? It's the same thing. All right? Okay. So back to this understanding and this description. And I'm trying to do the best I can because I know you guys are listening and not seeing this. So I'm going to do the best I can. So let's, for example, picture a 777 and it's coming from my right hand side. Okay. Now I am at the gate. My back is to the wall and I'm looking at the taxiway where my lead line is. Okay. And go back and watch my videos. That's what I do. Okay. And I usually am doing a few things. Okay. Mentally, I'm doing my inner checklist. Okay. And some things that I'm thinking about is what's my plane type? Okay. Are my tools properly placed? Which direction is it coming from? And is the OSC clear? Okay. So, is the OSC clear? Is all of my ground equipment, my tractors, my dollies, my belt loaders, my cargo loader machines, um, utility vehicles, other carrier or other airline equipment vehicles, are they out the way? Personnel, are they out of the way? Um, just anything that could affect the arrival of this aircraft, we got to make sure it's clear out of the way. Okay. Once we confirm that, oh, I forgot another one too. Is there debris inside of my gate? Okay. Planes' engines spin rapidly. I don't know if you guys know that, but they do. Okay. Duh. Okay. Was kind of a little bit of a humor here to kind of coax you along here. Right. Stay with me. We're a team together. Okay. So, um, I've already visualized my gate and all the trash, or if you guys don't know, we don't call it trash in the airline. We call it a three-letter acronym, FOD, Foreign Object Debris. Okay, because we don't know what it is, but it's debris and it's a foreign object, right? And it's foreign object to the aircraft. They don't know what it is, and they could be ingesting anything and cause damage and cause some problems. Folks, even myself is FOD. I can't be in the gate. I would be considered FOD. Okay. Um, yeah, we won't get into all that other stuff. But we are FOD. Okay. So anything that's within that squared space or area that I showed you in that other diagram, anything that's in there before it arrives needs to be gone, needs to be cleared, needs to be removed. Okay. And if it can't, it needs to be reported. Okay. And typically, what will happen is we will hold the aircraft until it is removed. If it can't be removed, we will notify higher authorities and they can reroute um, certain things to make sure that it does not cause damage. Okay. So, but 99% of the time when you're in the aircraft and you're waiting to park at the gate, everything is cleared and out the way and everybody's in position. Okay. Now, if I am marshaling, the second thing I'm thinking of, what is my plane type? Okay, there are a bunch of ways. One way, smartphones. We aren't supposed to be using them on the gate area, or as we call it, the AOA, Air Operations Area. It can cause some distractions and can be fatal. Um, there have been a lot of incidents. We don't know if it's pointed directly to that. That is to be determined. But I can almost guarantee that in some way down the road, it may or may not have played a critical role in that sort of thing. Okay. So, yeah, you can check what aircraft is supposed to be arriving into your gate. Okay. You can Google this. This is free information. It's public information to be able to view this. Okay. So, um, as we are trying to identify the plane type, I also have access to a information board. Okay. We call it the departure board. and it gives me some information on that departure board. It gives me a couple of things I need to know, one of which it tells me what plane is coming, okay? Sometimes they tell us that a plane is coming and it's expected to have another one, so there can be some confliction, but, um, so that's why we always wanna reference these sorts of things, right? And we also wanna double check to make sure this information is accurate to the best of our knowledge, okay? Um, so as I'm checking for the plane type, I need to verify and observe that my tools are properly placed. Now, when I say tools are properly placed, what I'm actually talking about is the chocks, okay? Now, this is actually the signal for chalk insert, and then turn your fist around. So, to do this, folks, if you guys are listening, take your hands in a fist, take your thumbs, point them toward the other fist. Okay, you got that down, right? Now, touch your thumbs together. That means insert the chalks. Okay, you actually are supposed to use wands. Where are my wands? Okay, so, okay, here's this. So I would take my wand and I would literally touch them, telling the flight deck the chalks are inserted. Now, if I touch them together, saying a chalk is inserted, what do you think I should tell them for them to remove the chalks? You guys are getting it. You guys are smart cookies. All right, you guys are focused. You're paying attention. I love it. Okay, you're gonna take the butt ends, the other end of your chalks. I'm sorry, the other end of your sticks or your fists, and you're going to pull them apart like you're pulling a magnet. Okay, you're gonna basically do this. Okay, pull them out. That means remove the chalk. Okay, if you need to give this to one of the personnels and you don't have your wands or your sticks on you and it needs to be done in an urgent manner, when you do this, that's an inserted signal. Turn your fist around so that the thumbs are pointing away from each other. Touch the other ends of your fist, so the pinky fingers, okay, touch them together. Now, pull them apart like a magnet, okay? That means pull the chalks apart, okay? So, are my tools properly placed? Are my chalks on the stop marker that I need to stop this aircraft? All right. Let's hypothetically say, go back to my drawing. I'm expecting a 7.6. Okay. Let's go back to this drawing right here. I'm expecting a 7.6, but the chalks are placed on the 319, the Airbus 319 marker. If I say, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna stop them there," what do you think could happen? A bunch of things can happen. It can cause damage if the wing is protruding into the other gate. It can cause damage, to the tail. It can cause damage a lot of locations, and we don't want that. So we need to verify what plane type is parking at our gate. So I need to make sure that I'm parking the 7.6 on that line, not that line, not that line, that line, okay? The 7.6 mark. Because when they come out and survey, like, construction folks, when they come out and survey the roads. Sorry, guys, I need to take a drink. Okay, much better. Um, when they come out and survey, like they do in construction in the airport, they verify the length, the width, and a lot of other factors on these aircrafts, like where the engines are located, right? Because some have 4, some have 2, some have them located on the tail, and they all have to be in consideration of all these factors, okay? So, I can do a lot of bad things if I mark it and put the aircraft nose gear on the wrong marker. So, I have to verify and visualize that my markers are on the right spot. So, and this all goes back to knowing your aircraft type. So I'm expecting a 7.6. I'm going to take my chalks and place them on the 767 mark. That way, when I guide the aircraft in, I can visualize it as a 7.6. Physically, it's a 7.6 approaching me. Okay. And it's approaching the ideally, I'm gonna do it before it even is in the gate. I'm gonna do it while it is, taxiing toward my lead-in line, because let us say that I'm expecting a 7.6 and a 7.5 tries to approach me, or a 777 tries to approach me. I'm gonna stop them because we're not ready, okay? We're gonna move the chocks into another location, or I'm gonna confirm that this aircraft is parking into the right gate. It is the correct type, okay? Because remember, we are all human, okay? We are not machines. So we're going to verify and make sure we're all on the same page, okay? So now that we have verified that the stop marker tools are on the same spot, we're then going to um just wrote it down. I need to know which direction the aircraft is coming from. Okay. So this is a diagram of what we talked about in the pushback. Okay. They're going to come along this road or this line, this taxi way or taxi lane, as it is in my station. We call it taxi lane. Okay. They're going to come down this taxi lane and they're going to approach the gate. Okay. To park. So as they're approaching, I need to visualize which side it is because I could very well see a 777 come this direction and my 7.6 is coming from this direction. Now, if you aren't keen and you aren't on your game, you aren't aware, you could theoretically park a 7.6 in a 777 gate that's supposed to have a 777, right? If you were supposed to park the 777, okay? So verify which side the aircraft that you're parking is coming on, okay? Same with regionals, same with 7.3s. 7.3s could be going by consistently like, oh wait, mine was supposed to be coming the other direction. Why are we giving them a signal that this is your gate? Okay. So you can put your ones down not to confuse the pilots. Okay. So as they're coming into that area, we would say, all right, this is your gate right here. So I'm observing that there's a 7.6 coming in. So for us, it'll be the 7.6 for this scenario. Okay. I know I mentioned the 777, but for this specific scenario, we're going to be parking the 7.6-300. Okay. So the 7.6-300 is going to be coming in from the right. So it's going to be coming in, coming in, coming in. Right here is where I would be standing here telling them, this is your gate. Okay. I'd be identifying their gate. I would say, this is the gate. Come for me. Okay. So then they would be they would be coming, they would be coming, they would be coming, they would be coming, and then they would start their turn. Okay. Typically, the flight deck knows when to move their nose gear so that they can allow the landing gear to be within the markers. Okay. That's what they're aiming for. We can always move the nose gear left and right as we freely can. But what they're aiming for is the landing gear, the main landing gear to be in the middle. Because unfortunately, the main landing gear does not move left or right. It just stays straight. So it's going to follow the path of the nose gear, whatever direction you move it. Okay. So, but unfortunately, not all gates are designed completely like this. Okay. Do you notice how this one is slightly off to the side? So, in order for this 777 or the 7.6 to approach this gate, they actually have to almost pass me and start turning wide. Okay. What's happening is they're going to be coming. down this center line, and then they're going to be turning wide of this gate marker right here, okay? So, they're gonna be keep coming, go past it, line up straight, and they should be right on the money, because as they come in, right, the wheels will be right here. So, they will be coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in. Turn, turn, turn. Okay, line up. So, my 2 wheels are like this, okay? Do you see the dotted lines? That's how the wheels are going to end up. So, by focusing on the landing gear, which is what we focus on, okay? Well, if it's not a straight in approach, okay? The trickier gates, we focus on the landing gear, and then we manipulate or we move the nose gear so that it is straight in line with this. Because if I get this correct, I can move the other nose gear properly. It's the same as if I was doing the pushback process. Remember that, what I was telling you guys? If we focus on the main landing gear during the push, once the landing gear gets to where I need it to be, I can continue pushing if I need be, right? I can continue pushing for straight back, and then I can focus on the nose gear to put it on the line so that the tow tractor or pushback tractor is in perfect line with the whole taxiway. That same process is done in marshaling this aircraft. Do you guys see that? Okay. Am I making sense? So, by directing the landing gear visually until I know it's going to be in line both sides of that solid line right here, and especially here, because that's where it's going to end up. That's the final mark. That's the goal, is to be straight in. Okay. Not to be off a little bit, not to be in there like sideways, but the nose is on there and the wheels are in the gate. Now I want to be straight in with the wheels equidistant from that line from the tail to the nose. I should be able to take a ruler, okay, and go from the landing gear to the center, from the landing gear to the center, all down the body, and I shouldn't have any increment deviation from the center of the fuselage to the lead-in line. Are we on this same page together with me? Are you guys with me so far? Okay. So that is the art of marshaling. Is you're going to verify the plane is correct, the direction, and then once you do that, you're then going to go into um the motion or the movement phase. We're gonna then take control of the landing gear and move it with the body as as you give the command, okay, left or right, okay, and then keep coming, okay? Now, I also want to share a tip with you, and this is typically not taught, it's not enforced, but I have done this in the past, and this can save you from trouble later on down the road, okay? Imagine it's a very tricky entrance for this aircraft, and you've got to get it on the mark completely. You have no wiggle room whatsoever. One trick to get the main landing gear on the mark. So let's say that the captain is trying to turn without you telling them to turn. And you know by them coming in that the nose gear and the landing gear is going to be way off on the center and it's going to be crooked at the end. One trick that you can use, okay, is you can actually tell them completely miss the mark on purpose in this direction. Okay. If you guys aren't familiar with that means, let me demonstrate this in the video. And if you can, get to where you can and download this video and watch it because I'm going to do the best I can to explain this, but it's very hard visually to verbally explain this. So I'll do my best. Okay. Drum roll, please. Okay. If your aircraft is coming in for the approach, okay, remember how I told you that you got to go wide? Let's imagine that the aircraft is coming in for the gate. Now they're coming straight, as in a straight down line, like 90 degrees to it, right? But this is going this direction. If I keep following this line right here, okay, this one right here, if I follow this line, it's actually going to go up to this corner right here. Okay. This corner right here. Okay. If I follow that all the way down there, it would go. But if I take this line, it would go all the way up to the edge. You see the difference? So if I pull them in straight, okay, they're going to be off the mark 100% of the time. Absolutely guaranteed. No question. So when I marshal this plane, I'm going to tell them you need to go wide, almost like you're aiming for this gate, and then come back. Okay. So it's going to look like this in practice. Okay. I'm going to tell them keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Okay. Go to your right. Okay. Completely miss your mark. Now, what's going to happen is remember what I told you? Don't give multiple signals at once. It's going to confuse them. This is the only time that you can because you don't have a lot of playroom as it's coming. The engines, when they stop, have to be started, and there's a whole procedure involved in that. So we reduce that by doing motions in a short span of time for an instruction. So I'm going to tell them, go this way to miss your mark because you need the back landing gear to come parallel to the line, the lead line. Okay, so go this way, go left, go left, go left, go left, go right, go right, go right, go right, go right. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm getting the back wheels to line up first. Once I do that, I can then start to direct the aircraft onto the actual proper line. Okay, I say proper line, but I can direct them to the center line properly so that everything is equidistant from one another. It's kind of counterproductive and counterintuitive, but it will save you the headache later. And if you watch a few of my videos and some other people on YouTube that marshal and that have done this too, because guys, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people have parking videos. It's on TikTok and all this. Don't study their material, but just observe it and watch it. You will tell them, okay, you will see them tell the flight deck, go the opposite way I want you, okay? Now you're in line. Now go to the area I need you, and then come forward. And then that's when you can decide if you need to make adjustments. So you can adjust, okay? Keep coming, adjust, keep coming, adjust, slow down, and cross. Now, if you need the nose gear to move while you're marshaling closer to the mark, heed my warning. If you do this, they're going to move. They're going to move like this. Okay? They are literally taking your motions at face value. Are you with me here? So, it's kind of like pressure sensitive electronic screens. The harder you push, the more input you get. The more response you're going to get, the more feedback that's going to come back. The less touch you give it, it's as if it never occurred. It's as if it was barely even done. It's the same for marshaling this plane or this car or what have you. Okay. So when you do this, sometimes when we do this, you're going to see us move one wand to the side and then stop. What we mean is just tap, tap, move your nose gear just a little bit this way. Okay. And then we can do this. And then you'll see it go like this, and then a little bit like this, and a little bit like this, and then cross. So if you guys aren't able to see that, basically what I just did was you're going to do your stop motion, your slow down motion from you come by your sides, right, up to your head. You're going to basically kind of like flick your hands to the other side just a couple times. Like shake it once, you're fine. Shake it twice, it's okay. Shake it 3 times, you're playing with yourself again. You guys remember that saying? Okay. This is kind of the same thing. Don't need to be obnoxious here. You don't need to go, right? It's kind of stupid. Just make a couple of motions and then do it because they understand you. They are human. They are not machines. They get it. Okay. But you got to give them a motion that they understand. And that brings me to my last point that I'm going to mention. Okay. The more you hesitate in these instructions, the more freaked out and upset and nervous the flight deck is going to become. Okay. You've got to instill confidence. Folks, I have been there with you. I have seen these planes. I marshaled in a CRJ 200, which is your private plane, which is your Cessnas, all the way up to a Airbus 380. Folks, it is massive. It is pretty crazy to see this gigantic behemoth approaching you with all this power, and you're standing there trying to park it on this dot. Okay. But remember, they're human in the flight deck. They need to read your command and they will input that command in the flight deck to match your command and your instruction. Okay? So, when you do your routines, when you do your motions, do it with authority, do it with integrity, and do it with purpose. Okay. One of the best advices I've ever been given in life, this goes back to my uncle. My uncle has served in the Navy, served in the military, and he pulled me aside and said, Sean, I need to give you some advice. And I said, yeah, what's going on? He said, pick your pants up, pick your boots up, and walk with purpose. I said, I don't really understand this. He said, well, take your chin up, look forward, walk like you have a purpose. Wherever you're walking, walk like you're going to go there. Wherever you're going to talk to, walk like you're going to talk to them. Okay. This is kind of a confidence thing. So if you're not very confident, try to boost up your confidence level. There are a couple of classes you can take. There are a couple of people you can talk to. There are a couple of counselors you can try and discuss this with. There are even friends you can try and reduce your confidences. Okay. But baby steps. But I say that because if you marshal an airplane this, like like this, They have no idea what you're doing, okay? But if you wanna be professional, even if you just stepped out on that field, okay, folks, you can be the newest member of that team bringing in this plane, and they would never know. Take your wands, identify it, come forward, okay? Look at how aggressive, how purposeful, how direct. There's no way you can misinterpret this signal, right? I am looking at you like, come forward, come forward, come forward. Imagine you directing traffic as a law enforcement personnel, okay? You don't see them go, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. No, they go, come through, come through, come through. Like they're very forceful, they're very aggressive, they're very thorough, they're very to the point, okay? So that's what you're gonna do is you're going to grab your wands, you're going to do your motions. When you turn, point, side, okay? Pull back in. Side, ready, and stop. Mark, okay? Can you tell the difference? Can you tell a difference as if I was to do this? You guys see the difference there? It's kind of like, "What? Like, did you were you even taught, bro?" Okay? You guys with me now? So, it matters all the care in the world to be confident. When you do this, you have to be confident because the flight deck is looking for that, okay? If you watch them in the military, they do the same thing. They military, members in our armed services, okay, learn that from the very beginning. They learn to walk and work with a purpose, okay? You were designed and meant to be there for a reason. It's the same in marshaling. You were meant to be guiding this thing in for a reason. So, I tell you that because I was there. I was elated to see this massive plane approach me, but I had to keep my composure. I had to realize it's much bigger than me. And if I freak out not only me, I freak out my team, I freak out the pilot, I freak out the passengers, I freak out everybody. So I had to keep my composure and I had to just bring it in like I've done it for 10 years. Okay. So that's going to be it for all of the instructional and informational point. Okay. Now for the part you've all been waiting for. Are you guys ready for a couple of stories? Okay. So, I'm gonna tell you about, you know what, guys? Let me go ahead and cut this podcast and follow me on the next podcast, and I'll do some stories, some ramp stories, okay? Some things that I've witnessed, and I'm gonna do a couple of marshaling stories that you guys might wanna check out. So, and the reason I'm doing that is because if you look up in the top corner right here, we just about passed an hour. Um, I wanna go ahead and cut this to about an hour each stream so that you guys are not bored and stuff. If you want longer podcasts, guys, let me know down in the comment section if you're watching live. If you just joined us, go ahead and leave a comment too. Um, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. It means so much to me. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys listening tonight. And stay tuned for podcast 107 stories and tales from the ramp. All right, guys, you guys ready to do this together? Here we go. I am Sean. I am out.